I don't think a lot of people saw what was coming in Rustburg this past Friday night as the Liberty Minutemen put up a big number and defeated the hometown Red Devils at Rustburg High School on Friday night. Chris Watts, head coach of the Minutemen, so gracious to join me. We talked on Saturday about a number of things, including the win against Rustburg, the state of mind of his Liberty team, and what's going to happen this week. Brookville and the Minutemen will meet up, and it should be a good one in Bedford. Chris Watts to talk about that and more here on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Always feel like a lucky individual when I get to talk to the head coach of the Liberty Minutemen, Chris Watts. And Coach, you guys put up a big number Friday against Rustburg. I think if a lot of people said they saw that coming, they would be lying, or they're either really hardcore Minutemen fans. What did you see going into the game that worried you?
Rustburg's a good football team, and Coach Berlin does a good job with his guys over there. And like you said, I didn't see that coming. I would have been happy coming out of there with a 1-point win. It was a game that we really needed to win for a lot of different reasons, but playoff reasons in particular. And, it was coming off our first loss of the year, first adversity we faced. So that's what I was concentrating on. The fact that we were able to score a lot of points was just kind of a little bit icing on the cake.
I think if most people were asked to name a Liberty Minutemen this year, it's not like you guys have like the Obie Blakes and the Stephen Tollers and the guys that you've had in the past that are household names. What's making this team so good right now?
Well, we're still fairly young, and we're forming that identity, and that's a good thing. It's not necessarily, one person here, one person there. Last night Matthew had a real big game, so he's getting a little bit of notoriety for that. But it's a bunch of guys that are trying. We've been talking about it since last winter in the weight room, is getting ourselves back to the point where we're relevant again. Because last year we're not relevant whatsoever, and it's a lot more fun when you're in the mix and people are talking about you and you have a chance to fight for playoff spots, and it makes life a whole lot easier, makes practice a whole lot more fun, and that's just the attitude we've been taking into it, and the kids have bought into that. So hopefully we can continue to build on it.
I'm going to kind of ask a weird question right here, and it won't be the first time I've done that with you, and probably won't be the last. But when you get such a big win against Rustburg, is that a helper or is that a deterrent as we head into Brookville this week?
Well, any success we have this year is a help. After having a down year last year, for us, talking about winning and everything when you're working in the weight room in December and January, it all sounds good. But when you get out on the field, if you don't produce wins, then all that hard work, people tend to forget about it. And so for us to have success just helps us to keep building on what we're trying to teach these guys. So I'm not worried about that. Plus the fact that every one of the kids knows as well as I do that every week in the Seminole District, we have Brookville this week. Then we play JF and Glass, and so it's not like okay, we've hit the top of the mountain now, we can rest. It's an uphill climb from here.
Right, but you may be hitting one of the peaks again though on Friday with Brookville. With that being said, too, and kind of a follow up, when it comes Monday to practice, do you want your kids feeling good, or do you want them to, hey guys, we beat Rustburg by a big number, but that doesn't mean poo now because we got the Bees coming up?
Yeah, and I think that we've done a good job of that. The kids have, so far this year of taking each thing one game at a time, and they know, especially this day and age with all the information that's out there, they know that Brookville's a good team. They know that everybody we play coming up, and we've talked about it, that, we have the ability to beat anybody, but we also have the ability, if we don't play well, to lose to anybody that we've got left in the schedule. So there's no games where you can come into it and not play your best. And we learned that last week, putting the ball, giving 6 turnovers to Heritage, that in the Seminole District that won't work. And so they've learned those lessons as we've gone along, and it makes it a little bit easier to stay focused.
Have you ever actually used the word poo when addressing your team?
Poo? I don't think so.
Okay, well,
I don't know. maybe I told a story about Winnie the Pooh one day.
Right. Well, if you want to use the word
sometimes
poo,
you got to relate on the right level.
Right, I hear you. If you want to use the word poo on Monday, that would be awesome, but you don't have to.
I'll give you all the credit.
No, I was going to say, please don't. But anyway, another question about Brookville real quick. To me, Gretna had a lot of a fear factor back when they had Vic Hall and people like that, and even the reputation carried people, to where I think when people went into Gretna or Amherst or wherever, they were down 7-0 before they got off the bus. I mean, I know Brookville's coming into your place, but do you feel like Brookville has that fear factor to where teams feel like they're already in a hole before they even kick the ball off?
Well, you're right. I mean, it's something that, when you're having success, that it gives you that edge. And, kind of what I was talking about before with our guys, that's what we're trying to get back to that point. Because, we had a time where we weren't the team, but we were a team that a lot of times we had that edge. And as soon as you lose it, it's hard to get back. And right now they've got it. And so you have to, they get everybody's A game. The downside of that for them is everybody's going to be targeting them and giving their best shot, but it's the teams that put that out of their mind. And I've always looked at teams like Salem and others that have had that long-standing tradition that, when they line up against them, you can just tell that there's few teams that don't pay any attention to that kind of thing. And they believe, no matter what the circumstances, that they're the better football team. And they're the ones that always play well against the top-notch teams. They're the ones that believe that. And now whether we believe that or not, we'll find out. And that's because everybody's going to say they do. And throughout the week, we'll work on that. But when it comes game time, our kids have to believe they belong on the field with Brookville. And if you do, it gives you a shot. That doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but it gives you a shot at winning. If you go out there and just don't believe, that truly that you're going to win the football game, then you're going to get 50 or 60 pasted up on you quick.
A couple final questions. You've been to the mountaintop and resided there quite a bit too with some of your earlier teams. Do you feel that gives you as a coach an advantage when playing a team like the Brookvilles and the Amhersts that have been there so long that you know what they're going through, if that makes sense?
Well, it gives me an advantage,
right?
But I don't get to play in the game. So, conveying that to the players is where the secret lies. And I think that's where, everybody talks about tradition and everybody has tradition, quotes on their shirts and all these kind of things. But the bottom line is when you pass from group to group and they truly believe when they step on the field that they're the better team, even when they statistically aren't, that's something you can't really coach, I don't think. I think it's something that just has to be there. It has to be a long-standing thing that you just know that, hey, this is what we're all about. And, the times that I thought we were there have been the years where we've struggled. We've had 2 years in the last 12 or 13 that we didn't make the playoffs. And both of those years, I felt like we were at a point where, we've hit that level where the kids just believe automatically. And I was wrong. So, I don't know what the secret is. I know the next time that I feel that way, I'm going to have somebody kick me or something because I don't want to go through it again.
We're recording this interview on a Saturday, so I don't know how much film you've watched on Brookville. What worries you about the Bees based on what you've seen from film, highlight show, or just on your general sheer knowledge?
Well, they've run this offense for a while now, and in the last 4 years with the same quarterback. So when you can do that with any scheme, it's a benefit for you. And Beecraft does a great job. Coach Woody has his offense well implemented there, and to have somebody out there on the field that can run it. Same thing with our offense. If we've got somebody that's been there 2 or 3 years as a quarterback, it makes me look like a whole lot better coach. And with Beecraft in there, he does a great job of finding the right place to go with the ball, and they got a good amount of talent as well.
Logan Thomas was no picnic to game plan against when he was the signal caller for the Bees. But what does Beecraft do maybe better than Logan Thomas that makes him more difficult?
Well, with Logan, he's on both sides of the ball for one thing. He played just as good defense as he did offense. But they, when he was there, they would get under center and run just as much stuff under center if they needed to. We're just as good at running their regular, just iron offense. With Beecraft, he's one of the few guys in high school that you see that can manipulate defenses and that can read things really well, and it's hard to rattle him. And Logan was the same way. You weren't going to rattle him either. Just different styles. Just different styles.
Final thing, Coach, always love catching up with you. We'll try to do it again soon. Give me a key offensively, defensively, and special teams that can have an upset happening in Bedford next Friday.
Well, hold on to football for one on offense. We had one turnover last night, I believe, right at the end of the first half. And if we can control football and eat some clock and some points on the board offensively, we don't want to get into a track meet with them. I know that. And defensively, just got there's going to be times where they get plays. We just have to make the tackles. We can't let a big play turn into a huge play, and make them drive the ball down the field. And I'm sure that I'm not the first one that's said that coming into the games this year, but it comes down to the fundamental football. If we can tackle well and block well, we give ourselves a chance.
Coach, definitely appreciate the time. Best of luck against Brookville, and once again, I strongly suggest the word "poo" in a.
The word "poo" is going to come out one way or another.
Well, let's just.
I don't know where.
Let's just.
I don't know where, but I'll find a way.
Let's just hope it's the word that comes out. Coach, as always, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.